This is Algebra 2 with trig. Today we're going to talk about synthetic division. When we're working with a linear divisor, x minus, we typically call it k. When it's in that form, then we know that we could use synthetic division. When we're dividing by x to the first power, we can use this quicker method. You need to know this method. It's just like our synthetic substitution, but we're going to use more of the numbers at the end. So we have our x minus 3. X minus 3, you can think about that as factored form polynomial, and we're looking for the zeros, so we need to set this as x minus 3 equals 0. So we add it across. So we're going to use the number x equals 3. We're going to use the number 3. We changed the sign because this was not the value of x. We had to figure out what the value of x would be. That's going to be a confusion part later on. So you want to know, when do you change the sign? You got to change the sign when you're trying to solve it and you need x to equal your value. This isn't x equals a value. So as we know about synthetic, we use our coefficients. Drop down your 2, the 9, the 14, and the 5. Every term is listed. So from here, you should know exactly what to do. So I would encourage you to consider what would come next with synthetic. We drop down our 2. Very good. Then we multiply by the 6. Or multiply by the 3 to make 6. And that 6 goes underneath the 9. Add those two together to make 15. Multiply by the 3, makes 45, adds together to be 59, multiplies by the 3. Now I don't know what 3 times 59 is, but I know 3 times 60 is 180. So this would be 3 less than that. So it's 177. Which adds up to be 182. In the past, this is what we've wanted, the 182. So we talk about how f of 3 equals 182. That was a point on this graph. But here we are trying to do division. Here we're dividing this value into it. Because we're dividing by x to the first power into x cubed, we're going to go 1 degree less. X cubed divided by x gives us x squared. This is our 2 that is going to be the coefficient in front of that x squared. The 15 is the coefficient in front of 1 degree less, which is x to the first power. And the 59 comes after that. And the 182 divided by x minus 3. You should love that method. Last night's homework, you did several problems that were in this format. And we practiced it with long division. Today we're seeing that synthetic division can be done when you're working within a binomial to the first degree. Okay, think about what you would do here. How are you going to set up this problem? So we're going to say x plus 2 equals 0 to get negative 2. Then what would you need to do? Want to be sure that you guys are thinking about what needs to be done. We're going to put the coefficients that we have here. This is x cubed, so we're going to use 1. X squared will be negative 1. I don't have an x power. Or I don't have a term with just x, so I need to represent that coefficient as a 0, and then negative 10. Drop down your 1 and multiply. Add them together. Negative 2 times negative 3 is 6. Add them together. Negative 12 is negative 22. So what's our final answer going to be? You go ahead and write out your final answer. We just did the synthetic portion of it. How is this going to be different than synthetic substitution? That would be your answer for synthetic substitution. But we're doing synthetic division. We need to take it another step. Because this is x cubed and you're dividing it by x, we're going to drop the degree 1. We always drop the degree 1. So we know our first term is going to be an x squared. X squared with a coefficient of 1 minus 3x plus 6 plus a negative 22 over x plus 2. And that is synthetic division. So we're using the numbers that we're calculating in our synthetic division to help us figure out the coefficients that are going to be used as our quotient, which is the answer to division. We can only use this method when we're dividing by x to the first power. Now let's take a look at this one. This is from yesterday. Notice we're doing division. We have to decide how to divide this. Are we going to use long division like yesterday, or are we going to use synthetic like today? We have to use long division because this is x to the second power. There are methods online that can use the synthetic process to help you calculate this also. But our long division is what's expected as we go into pre-calc and such. So we're going to take our x squared minus 3x plus 5. Our 3x to the fourth minus 5x cubed. I'm being observant. I see there's not an x squared. So plus 0x squared plus 4x minus 6. I would encourage you to try to work this one out yourself. So pause the video, give that one a try, and then come back and I'll walk it through with you. So what we're going to do is look at our 3x to the fourth divided by x squared. That's going to give us 3x squared. That 3x squared goes in the x squared column. And we distribute that to all of them. 3x squared times x squared is 3x to the fourth. Keep it right in line with that. 3x times negative 3 gives you a negative 9x cubed. 3x times a positive 5. We draw our line underneath and change your sign. These will always cross off. That's why we picked that value. These cross out. This makes 4x cubed negative 15x squared, positive 4x. So you take your leading term, 4x cubed, divided by x squared, gives us 4x. So we write our 4x, that's just a coincidence, and you distribute it to all three. So 4x, so you get 4x cubed because 1 plus 2 is 3. 4x times negative 3x, 4 times 3 is 12, negative 12x squared, x and x is x squared. 4 and 5 is 20, x change the sign, change the sign, change the sign. Those cross off. 3x squared, that's negative. Negative 16x minus 6. We do it one last time. So we use our minus 3. Notice we went all the way down to our constant number. That's how we know when we're going to start to finish up. Negative 3 times x squared. These are always going to match. Always match. Always match. We change the sign and they cross off. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9x. Negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. Change the sign, change the sign, change the sign. So these will cross off. They'll always cross off. Negative 25x, positive 9. So our quotient is going to be 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 and negative 25x plus 9, all divided by x squared minus 3x plus 5. That's long division.